Hey guys. Hey, it is Lindsey with Copy That. I am solo for the moment. Um, for those, for those of you who are just joining, I'm going to hang out for a little bit while everyone kind of filters in since it is just after 3 o'clock. So we are gonna kick it off soon. Rod, for those of you who don't know, has started a super cool new gig, and he had a meeting get pushed back to 3 o'clock. So he is going to be, hey guys. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks to those who have submitted copy. We'll give it a few more minutes while everyone filters in. As I was saying, Rod has started a super cool new gig, and I don't think we've told you guys about it yet, but I'm sure he'll be dishing in an upcoming episode or in future videos. But he's kind of doing some really cool work on the brand advertising side. So I'm personally excited to learn from him. And then another reason why we're short today is because Sean is actually just wrapping up a 21-hour traveling sprint. He flew to Japan with his family, where he'll be for the next month, kind of hanging out. And hey, yeah, it's just me for now. But Sean is in Japan. He's going to be working there for the next month. So he's going to be on kind of weird hours, but that's the reason why he cannot unfortunately join us today. Again, he's been traveling, and it's been insane because for those who know, he has 2 very young children as well. And then Alex is in the heat of work obligations and unfortunately couldn't duck out today. So it is going to be me for right now, and we are going to get started soon while we wait for Rod to join us. He is wrapping up a call his super cool new job, which I'm personally excited to hear about. So this feels really intimate. This is the first time that I have done a solo stream or solo anything for Copy That. I know some of you have been around a long time and probably, were even involved with Copy That before I kind of became a character. So since this is really kind of like my first solo stream, I wanted to take an opportunity to talk to you guys and tell you a little bit about myself. So for those who don't know, my name is Lindsey, and I have been in the direct response business since 2013. I have a background in journalism and general writing and marketing. And I actually went to school and got an American Studies and a journalism degree. I thought I wanted to go to law school, and then I thought I wanted to be a doctor. And then I actually had done and worked for with big journalism institutions in the U.S., NPR, Slate, National Press Club for a while. And so when I kind of pulled the plug on trying to go to med school, I decided to go find a job doing what I knew, which was writing and journalism, and found this really weird company, like a job ad. And it was just talking about how like you didn't need a degree and you didn't need really any special skills. You just had to be open to learning and willing to work hard, and which I was. And so I applied, and the company was one of the subsidiaries of Agora, one of the biggest direct response health and financial firms in the world. They have sister companies all around the world. And I just fell in love with it. And I had no idea that you could make so much money online writing and selling info products. I grew up in an era of journalism where newspapers were getting shut down across the country, and everybody was so dismayed because they couldn't figure out how journalism entities were going to make money online where information was free. They had gone from this print ad model where companies would pay for ad space in newspapers and magazines and whatnot, and now all this information is free online and nobody could figure out how to make money. And so I had no clue that this industry even existed. And so when I discovered it, it was pretty mind-blowing for me as well. And I'm sure some of you guys are going through those exact same emotions, just being, super surprised and pleased by how lucrative it is and how exciting it is. And to this day, I still feel like there's more about this industry that I don't know than there is that I have learned. All these years, since 10 years ago, I am learning every day about it. Uh, we've got YouTube in the background. It started playing a weird ad. And so I hope that is a little encouraging for some of you all, that you can still be successful in this business and still do quite well and not have all the answers and still, be learning a lot of it. So that's a little bit about me. And then, I met Sean at the place that I was working in. I had hired Sean and obviously recognized what a talent he was, and he quickly, hired him to quickly replace me. And then our paths forked a bit, and then we came back together because we had gone into business together and remained very good friends. And so when Copy That was formed, I was always a partner in the background, but only until mid last year, fall of last year, kind of became more involved and more of a face on this channel. So for those of you who, have been around a while and, this is really the first time that you're seeing me solo on one of these streams, that's a little bit about me. Feel free to ask any questions in the comment box. For those who are curious, I'm happy to answer. So, okay, so it is close to 10 after 3. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started and start diving into some copy. And then hopefully shortly after 3:30, Rod will join us. Okay, so I guess hey Breezy, let's just dive right in. I'm going to pull up the first piece here. Let me share my screen with you guys. No, I want this one. USP. Just a second. Share screen. All right. Okay. All right. Let's dive right in. So, thanks to all of you who submitted your copy. We're going to do our best to get through everything today, and I will do my utmost best to give you helpful feedback. I've been running on next to no sleep. I've got 3 very young children, a baby, and toddlers, and everybody's been very sick and waking up a lot and very low on sleep. So I hope this is coherent. All right. So first piece, I'm going to go ahead and read these as we always do, as is traditional, and then we'll go ahead and dive into the meat. Okay, so this is from Sean, who is a patron. Hey, Sean, thank you for submitting your work. I recognize this because you had submitted a landing page on a previous stream a couple weeks back, and so I remember what this is. We are missing a little bit of the context on this one. If you are watching and want to pop it into comments, I think that would be helpful for everyone to kind of truly understand what this product is. But we are looking at possible USPs for Jumpstart Guitar Songwriting Program. About the program, the Jumpstart Guitar Songwriting Program is a 25-page ebook or a paper book program that teaches someone how to write a song from a beginner level to be able to write great songs using what they call a Nashville numbering system. A lot of hit songs are based upon. So you present possible USPs, 3 of them. Number 1, the only songwriting program that uses a secret songwriting structure that practically anyone can learn how to write songs with, even if you don't know anything about music. Number 2, Jumpstart Guitar is the quick and easy way to learn how to write great songs, even if you don't know anything about what songwriting lyrics are. And number 3, the songwriting structure that makes songwriting quick and easy for just about anyone wanting to learn how to write a great song, even if you don't know anything about music. Okay, so diving right in. For those who are new and are unfamiliar about what a USP is, it stands for a unique selling proposition. And this is, if I had to describe what this is succinctly, it is really the kernel, the little nugget of information that is unique to your product that is your biggest selling point. Again, unique selling proposition. And so I think that when I'm reading through these USPs, I think the thing that jumps out to me immediately is really about that unique point. And I'll get back to that in a minute. But first of all, so this first one, the only songwriting program that uses a secret songwriting structure that practically anyone can learn how to write songs with, even if you don't know anything about music. This first one just generally feels pretty unbelievable to me. So there is a copywriting structure we use to edit copy. It is called Cub. Maybe you've seen Cuba. There's other variations of it too, but copywriters will go around and kind of mark things that are either confusing or unbelievable or boring, or awkwardly worded. And this one just kind of feels to me like you are just slinging the biggest things that you could possibly say about this program. Like you were just slinging them at me in an effort to get me to kind of overpower my senses to convince me that this is something worth getting. So when you say the only songwriting program that uses a secret songwriting structure, I kind of highly doubt that. I know, if I'm an audience that is interested in this and I've, maybe I have an itch to write songs, it's something that I'm interested in. I know that, there are many different ways to write songs, many different structures to follow. So when you throw a statement at me like this, it immediately strikes me as something that's unbelievable, and you lose credibility. And so the biggest problem for me with number 1 is really that first one. And then, as I go through the number 2, Jumpstart Guitar is the quick and easy way to learn how to write great songs, even if you don't know anything about what songwriting lyrics are. I that's fine. What you're doing here is, it seems like you are struggling in the middle of how to actually, you are doing this, you were right in the middle of either being not specific enough or, hold on. I'm struggling. I have my notes here. Okay, so I wrote on my little notes, you're in the middle where either the product isn't unique enough or you are trying too hard and you are doing too much. So if the Nashville numbering system itself is something that is original and is unique, you need to elevate that point, okay? So you need to say, for example, the only songwriting program that uses the Nashville numbering system as a songwriting structure, which thousands of music aficionados have learned within 30 days, how to use the Nashville numbering system to write a song. So you need to either elevate that point, but my sense is that the Nashville numbering system is actually not unique, because when I Google Nashville numbering system, I see like a lot of free content, a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of articles. And that unfortunately is going to hurt you, because if it's something that has been around since the 50s, which I think this has, right? There's just going to be so much free content on it that it's just going to be hard for your, 25-page ebook to really compete in that without delivering something that is more unique, which was, kind of the big point that I wanted to make about this, was that you need to, if it's not the Nashville numbering system that's unique, you need to dive deeper into this actual program and discover something that is unique about it. So is Jumpstart Guitar, is this program doing something different with the Nashville numbering system that you haven't seen done before, for example? I would elevate that and highlight that, and make that, and then that way this actually is the only songwriting program that is using the Nashville numbering system in a different way. You understand what I'm saying? And so, what I was struggling to say earlier is that you're being just way too generic here. You either need to go to one side to where you are being more specific about what the Jumpstart Guitar program itself is doing with the Nashville numbering system. Or you need to go the other way, which you can't do, because there's just so much free information around the Nashville numbering system to compete. Okay. So that was my kind of first point, is really to find something unique about this program and elevate that. I hope that helps. This one was pretty thin. We were only just kind of looking at USPs. I'm going to take a minute to get into does anyone have any questions about this one? Let's see. True Potential is saying this ebook is targeting the same customers as a video game, which is much preferable for a music instrument. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Not too many comments here. PO Box 13 says it's pretty clunky. Yeah, I think it's just it just feels way too generic to me, right? Like there's just nothing that is making this actually unique. I don't think Nashville numbering system is unique. It's my understanding from, a quick Google search. I was immediately inundated with videos of content. How are you going to compete with, an attractive person? The first video I saw was like this blonde girl teaching you over video how to use a Nashville numbering system to write songs. Like if that's what you're competing with and you have a 25-page ebook, you're going to have to do a lot better than, my 25-page page ebook is going to teach you the Nashville numbering system. And, the problem with this is, even if that did work, even if you did try to veil the Nashville numbering system, and then you actually get somebody to either purchase this or to opt in, it seems to me like you're asking them to purchase it because the program itself is a 25-page ebook. The problem is that you're going to end up pissing a lot of people off, is because they're going to get this ebook and they're going to be like, wait, this is just the Nashville numbering system? Like I already knew this. I can look this up on YouTube. And they're going to be upset. And then you're going to have a terrible refund problem on your hands and end up wasting a lot of time. So, yeah, Warren says 25-page ebook, less than blonde girl. Yeah, unfortunately, I think a lot of our prospective audience may agree with you. Yeah, and Evan says, and if it's just a practice piece, you've got all the liberty in the world to make a really exciting offer. Yep. Cool. Okay. Oh, here's a good piece. This is a great tip from Evan. I think True Potential, if this is a real program, you should interview the owner and offer to the creator to figure out what's really special. That is absolutely the best way that I've found to hone in on identifying a unique selling proposition. Sit down and have a real conversation with whoever it was that created it, and discover what it is that, as Evan is saying, makes the program really special. And then, hopefully you will discover that the Jumpstart Guitar Songwriting Program is the only songwriting program in the world that uses the Nashville numbering system in a specific way to do a specific thing, with a specific success rate. So really lean into the tool of specificity to call that out and identify it. Okay. All right. Final comment. As a guitarist, it is an idea that has been sold many times. Yeah, it's just pretty generic. There's nothing unique about this unique selling proposition. All right, Sean, rework it. Come back at us. All right, see you on the next one. Okay, I am going to pull up our next piece. Let me see here. Give me a second. Let's see. Next one is, all right, A Legacy of Inspiration. Cool. I am excited to see so many of you bringing back projects that we have critiqued in a previous stream, and either doing some sort of lateral piece, submitting some sort of lateral piece, or improving and resubmitting. It's great that you guys are participating in this process, because it is absolutely one of the best ways to learn. Real copywriters looking at real copy and critiquing it, and you getting to kind of have that meta conversation about it, and then go back and rework it again. You're absolutely going to get better for it. So kudos to all of you guys who are returning here and are resubmitting. So I also remember this piece. This was great. This is about a fountain pen, and I apologize if you hear a screaming infant in the background. It's my son. This is really cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and start reading it, because you're going to get a sense of like who this is for, what it's about, as we read. And I won't read the whole thing because it's 7 pages. It's long. But we'll go ahead and just get started. A Legacy of Inspiration. The Eternal Fountain Pen. Most people are forgotten, but the words that you have read that have lasted through the ages have been written with one thing: the fountain pen. A symbol of class and poise in the world, used by artists throughout history, and by one of the most notable ones, Vincent van Gogh. He had skills with the brush, but was more expressive with a pen. His popular paintings overshadowed all of his other works, with over 1,100 ingenious drawings enriched with expression and creativity. As exciting as his paintings were, his drawings were a revelation, garnering attention after his death. What could command such respect and authority to stand on its own even after one would part this world? Vincent van Gogh always had a fountain pen on hand. He wanted to snapshot anything in case inspiration struck him, making a mark. Here at Scenic Pens, we offer a fountain pen that doesn't hiccup or fail, allowing ideas to flow on a page elegantly, giving you the chance to write and draw whenever inspiration strikes. I'm going to zoom in here. All right, it's a little bit hard, guys. There. All right, bye now. The Eternal Scenic Pen's Immortal Fountain Pen. It's an immortal pen with a lifetime personal repair service from professional pen doctors. This allows you to pass down the pen for generations, with ideas flowing out of it without interruption. More than 4,800 4.8 star reviews. That's almost a little too coincidental. I don't know if I believe that. Owning a well-crafted Eternal Fountain Pen is like owning the Rolls-Royce of pens. I like that. It's rated highly by critics and hobbyists alike. They all come together, which is proven throughout its satisfaction percentage of 96%. Almost everyone was fully satisfied when receiving the Eternal Pen, right, with confidence. One big disadvantage of using fountain pens over ballpoint pens is that the fountain pen ink runs out very quickly. The wetness it provides allows for the ink to glide across the paper, but the downside is it uses up a lot of ink. Fountain pens also use small ink capacities most of the time, which can get annoying, constantly refilling and doing maintenance on a fountain pen to get a simple writing job done. It went from simply jotting down some notes to disassembling the entire pen to get a new cartridge in. At CNET Pens, we realize how frustrating and annoying it is when the workflow is interrupted. The Eternal Fountain Pen has a built-in piston filling mechanism allowing for a 50% bigger ink capacity compared to a cartridge. Eventually, the ink will run out. And so what do? All you have to do is submerge the nib in the ink bottle. We provide 2 with your order, and twist the end knob until the piston is fully extended, and twist the knob on the other direction, retracting the piston, drawing ink into the converter. At CNET Pens, we prioritize quality over brand image. We don't sacrifice material quality for a perceived value. Instead, we use only top-grade materials and feature advanced mechanisms like the piston converter for the best writing experience. Investing in the Eternal Fountain Pen is an investment in longevity and quality that can be passed on for generations and become the holy grail pen. We refuse to compromise on quality. Unlike others, we don't cut corners and offer the fountain pen at an inflated price. Looking for maximum profit? No, that isn't our motto. Trust us to always prioritize the best quality, design, convenience, and support for our customers. Okay, we're going to stop there. What did you guys think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and dig right in. I got to pull up my notes for my cafe this morning. I wrote on these guest checks. Okay, so I want to just say well done generally. Like, I love this idea. I have not ever studied in depth pen copy, but as a writer, as somebody who writes, I just generally love this idea. I love the idea of having like a really fancy Rolls-Royce pen that like I can immortalize my notes with. I can see how this could be like a benefit and an emotion to somebody who is just generally a writer or a journaler or somebody who has deep reflections about things. And so like I think this is a super cool product that I actually really enjoy. And I think that you did a great job crystallizing this idea that this pen is for writers and like calling out this idea of documenting your legacy, which is really cool. Where I think you went wrong is like there's just way too much Vincent van Gogh here in the beginning. You're violating the rule of one here, and this is no longer about the pen. This is now about Vincent van Gogh and himself as a painter, but actually, he had all these other works and drawings and etchings and maybe journals, whatever. So like you're starting to diverge a little too much from the main idea and making this about Van Gogh and his life. And so I would streamline this. And I think that you could do it pretty simply. Known for his paintings, Van Gogh actually had, most people don't know that Van Gogh actually had 1,100 etchings, journals, notes that have given us a sense of who he was as a man and as an artist. So now you're elevating that idea that actually, again, it was the pen and the pens that he wrote with that elevated his status as an artist, as a man, that memorialized him. And had it not been for, these etchings that he did with this pen, we might not have known, who he was as a person. We certainly would not know nearly as much. And so I think that you could like tug on that idea a little more and streamline this easily by kind of using that language that I just said. I think it would make it a lot more impactful, and you would stay committed to, again, that one idea of how people can use pens to leave a legacy, memorialize their life, and make their writings and who they were, stand the test of time. And I think that, as you're getting here, you're talking a lot about Van Gogh, and then you just do this right turn here at Scenic Pens. We offer a fountain pen that doesn't hiccup or fail, allowing ideas to flow on the page elegantly, giving you the chance to write and draw whenever inspiration strikes. It's an extension of your limbs. It focuses on enhancing the user's creativity and expression. Do you want to leave a mark? So that, transition was just a lot abrupt for me. But I think if you streamline this Van Gogh stuff, keep it about elevating that one idea of, hey, this is a famous person who used a pen to, memorialize his life. And thank God he did, because now we know so much more about him. And, you too can leave a similar mark. Here at Scenic Pens, we offer a fountain pen that allows your ideas to flow on the page elegantly, giving you the chance to write and draw whenever inspiration strikes. I think you could leave that hiccup or fail line in there too. My concern with that is now you're really getting into the features of this pen, which you really want it to be about the benefits of it. But I just remember from past copy, that was an idea, this pen that doesn't hiccup or fail, and how that solves so many big problems that your audience is already aware of. I think it's fine leaving there. Taking a moment to get into, Warren. Warren says, I like fountain pen that doesn't hiccup. I like it too. Evan is saying, I really like the romanticization of the product. I feel like it would jive with the writerly types. Absolutely. Let's see. Laura is saying, I think it'd be a little more intriguing and cohesive. It's almost like reading an essay on the future of pens. Yeah. Oh, nice. Zenith wants to know, who is this writer? He's amazing. Yeah, I agree. This copywriter is really, really good at bringing out that emotionality in the words, right? Let's see. Yeah, again, a world of difference from the first draft. Well done. Those of you who were here a few weeks ago. Same product could be pitched to someone who wants to buy a gift to the writer in their circle. Okay, here's a constructive comment. I think there were opportunities missed with how the features benefit the customer, also getting the prospect to imagine themselves using the pen. I think that's a great bit of advice. I think in this first section, this is pretty meaty copy, and you can't do everything all at the same time. And so I think in this first bit, what you really want to paint, the picture that you want to paint for people, is really about that notion of how your pen can elevate your legacy as a person, your legacy as an artist, as a writer. And if that's the idea that you're going to go for and test out here, I think that's the idea that you need to elevate in this first section, leaving out, as James said, or as another person said, leaving out kind of those qualities of the pen itself, which you can sort of untie slowly as you get through the copy. Let's take a look at what that looks like. This is great. This allows you to pass down the pen for generations with ideas flowing out without interruption. I think that's cool. It's a family heirloom. You might even use that, use that actual expression. Let me see what else I have here. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to another section. This is great. 4-star reviews. If you can somehow illustrate all of this social proof, this is excellent. This just jumped out at me as I was reading 4800 4.8. Sometimes when numbers line up, sometimes when numbers are like a little too perfect and they're a little too similar, you can lose credibility. So like you saw when I was reading this, it immediately struck me as like, that's almost a little too perfect. But if that's what it is, that's what it is. This was another problem area for me, right, with confidence. One big disadvantage to using fountain pens over ballpoint pens is that the fountain pen ink runs out very quickly. The wetness it provides allows for the ink to glide across the paper, but the downside is it uses up a lot of ink. Fountain pens also use small ink capacities most of the time, which can get annoying, constantly refilling and doing maintenance on a fountain pen just to get the simple writing job done. It went from simply jotting down simple notes to disassembling the entire pen to get a new cartridge in. So I'm going to pose a question to the audience. What is the problem? What's going on here? What's the big problem with this copy? I'm waiting for some comments. Anybody want to take a guess? What is the big problem with the copy that I just read? It's this section here. Okay. So someone says boring. Johnny says this is boring. That wasn't what I picked up, but yep, I can see you there. I'm going to read it again. One big disadvantage to using fountain pens over ballpoint pens is that the fountain pen ink runs out very quickly. The wetness it provides allows for the ink to glide across the paper, but the downside is it uses up a lot of ink. They also have small ink capacities a lot of the time, which can get really annoying, constantly refilling, doing maintenance, doing all of this work on this fountain pen just to get a simple writing job done. Now I'm about it's disassembling the entire pen. What is happening here? Yes,
I'm
exactly.
happy to hear.
Hey!
How's it going?
Hey. So how are you? I hope your call went well.
Yeah, I'm good. Talking basketball, so.
Okay, cool.
I'm here to hoop.
You remember fountain pen copy?
Yes. Oh, wow, yes.
Yeah, so we're diving back in, and we just got through the lead, which was super cool, and loved that. We had some good edits for that. We're at this section now where we're saying write with confidence. I'm going to read it again for the audience. Sorry, guys. This is the third time, but I want Rod to chime in here. Okay. Write with confidence. I think you'll be able to spot the problem right away. One big disadvantage of using fountain pens over ballpoint pens is that the fountain pen ink runs out very quickly. The wetness it provides allows for the ink to glide across the paper, but the downside is it uses up a lot of ink. Fountain pens also use small ink capacities most of the time, which can get annoying, constantly refilling and doing maintenance on a fountain pen just to get the simple writing job done. It went from simply jotting down some notes to disassembling the entire pen to get the new cartridge in. We realize that this is such a frustrating and annoying process, right? You understand what the problem is here?
Yeah, there's a lot of telling. There's a lot of ink. There's a lot of describing. It feels like a Tolkien novel.
Yeah, and it's describing all the wrong stuff. Why are you beating in my head how terrible fountain pens are and how they're such a pain in the ass and all of the reasons why fountain pens suck compared to, a ballpoint pen or whatever, simple chalk on paper. Like you are just highlighting way too strongly the disadvantages of utilizing or the disadvantages of using a fountain pen.
And they're trying to sell fountain pens, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You're trying to sell a fountain pen. Yeah. So, so we had some good guesses. We had over explaining unnecessary things. Yeah. More than one problem. So yes, here we go. Mm-hmm. Julio's got it. Focuses too much on the disadvantages. Warren, disadvantages of owning the product. So this is the big problem here for me with this section is it's just again way too much describing what the problem is. And I think there's a simple fix to this because it's cool because CNET Pens has figured out the solution to that. And so it's a very easy it's a very simple fix to say, unlike other fountain pens, which, and move through them really quickly. Unlike other fountain pens that, run out of ink quickly, that have small ink capacities and can get annoying to refill and then move on. The CNET pen or the fountain pen has created this, unique proprietary technology that allows double the ink capacity and, blah, blah, blah. And is like with a simple twist of an end knob, the cartridge is replaced, right? So you want to elevate those advantages and the solutions that the CNET Pens offers to the problems that your reader is so well aware of if they're a writer and, maybe somebody who likes fountain pens or has struggled to find a good pen that they like. Like I'm somebody who I like the I don't actually know the name, but I have a specific type of pen that I love and I use it all the time. And I'm aware of its problems. And I imagine that this audience, somebody who's kind of interested in this sort of thing, they're immediately going to recognize those problems. And so you don't need to beat them over the head with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's see here. So again, I think you can move through that section pretty quickly. Unlike other fountain pens, which do blah, 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 you're going to elevate the added benefits of, or you're going to elevate the solutions that this pen offers to correct those problems. The other thing is, you say here, you just kind of like sneak this in the copy. All you have to do is submerge the nib in an ink bottle. We provide you 2 with your order and twist the end knob until the piston is fully extended. First comment, you don't need to get into a full explanation of like how to actually replace. This is just generally a little hard to follow. What I think you do need to do is highlight in a way bigger way than just, some parenthetical words smushed in a paragraph somewhere, that you get 2 ink bottles with your order of your pens. You're not just getting a pen, you're getting two ink bottles. So now you're kind of like offer stacking, and you are, you're offering the pen, you're also going to offer 2 ink bottles. So I would make that, I would highlight that,
2 comments on that.
Yeah, go.
One, it's actually a little unclear whether they mean 2 nibs or 2 ink bottles, just with like the way that sentence is structured. I'm guessing it is ink bottles, but like I read that and was like, I'm not sure. So just keep in mind that for clarity. The other thing is like when I see parentheticals like that, or just like benefits or like offer features just like thrown in randomly, it feels like the writer is torn between like feeling like it's not actually that big of a deal, so it's not worth making a whole section on it, or they feel like it's such a big deal that they think it's important to say right then, but then are not giving it enough space. And so I think whoever wrote this, go back and think to yourself, is it a big deal I'm giving away 2 ink bottles? I mean, probably yeah. And if so, then like actually give that the space it deserves. And if it's not a big deal, just cut it out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. I do think though, generally like there's some calls to action peppered throughout here, which I think is really good. You got your buy now, and then like there's a give it a spin. So like I think that if this is a big deal, as Rod said, and you want to give it the space it deserves, I think you could do something here, maybe a graphic, something like that, to make it evident that this isn't just about getting a pen, but now you're getting ink bottles too.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. So now we're through that section. Now we're to this section. No need to worry anymore. It isn't worth it to constantly have a dozen questions float around in your head. I just generally don't understand what this subhead means.
Hmm.
And especially after I read this section, I just think this subhead needs to be clarified. Your subheads give you a really unique opportunity to put front and center your biggest, most important ideas as you're working through your copy. And this should be immediately kind of understood and be able to stand on their own
Hmm.
in many ways. And I just don't understand what this is trying to say or sell here. So let's read a little bit of copy. Eternal Fountain Pen leaves the scene at Penn's manufacturer and goes directly to a team of pen doctors. They check for any outliers and ensure each Eternal Fountain Pen is in perfect condition. If not, the pen either gets fixed or discarded straight away. We only accept 100%. The pen doctors then gives it a tag of approval by CNET Pens at the end of the thorough checking process. If a fountain pen gets sent back to us, we have a group of pen doctors that repair or replace the fountain pen as a last-ditch effort, so the customer will always be satisfied. This process ensures that no matter what, you leave with a smile on your face. The peace this gives you makes sure your mind isn't occupied with the fountain pen's well-being while you jot down notes from your office meeting. Okay, I think that's maybe what they were trying to insinuate here with this subhead. The level of work and productivity you'll then achieve is 10x better with our Eternal Fountain Pen. Say goodbye to the stresses and anxieties of owning a high-end pen. The only solution you had before was collecting them, never touching them, and admiring them from afar. Now you can take it in spins and treat the luxury pen as you would any other pen. We told you, our Eternal Fountain Pen is immortal. Give it a go. This is great copy in the end here. And I think that this process, allowing the reader to see this process, gives them a lot more confidence in potentially buying, because it seemed, I mean, we're talking about, you know, the process that it is vetted, that it is checked, that it is signed off and certified, and then how easy it is to, return it and have them repair it and replace it. I think that's potentially a big stumbling block for people, is like, man, this pen sounds so high maintenance. I don't know if I have it in me to maintain this. But if you make that process super simple, which I think you're doing here by walking them through the step-by-step process of maintenance and care and how it's vetted, it just gives the reader confidence that they'll be able to drive this pen without issue. Right?
Can I be really honest?
Yeah.
I hate this copy.
What do you hate about it?
But the reason I hate it is because this subhead makes me think it's going to be something completely different than what it is.
Yeah. I mean, definitely.
And so
would you like it if it had a better subhead?
I think I would. And like, it's so funny because like we read the subhead, you're going through the copy. I was like, wow, this fucking sucks. Yeah. And then you made the point about how like powerful it is to describe the process, the quality control stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, oh, she's actually right. And so why do I hate this so much? And I think the thing is like, when I read, oh my God, I'm never going to have a dozen questions floating around in my head ever again, presumably because I'll be able to take notes really easily. And then it's like a step-by-step of how their quality control process goes. I'm like, this does not answer. Yeah. This is not fulfilling. And I think to an extent that also confused the writer a little bit too, because then it goes like, you have this great process, detailed, written out, satisfaction guaranteed, whatever. And then it's like, starts talking about productivity again. And it's like, that's not what any of this is supposed to be doing. And so I think if your subhead is something like, satisfaction or quality guaranteed, satisfaction guaranteed,
yes,
whatever, or you tie this into like your money back guarantee at whatever point down the sales letter, I think it works really, really well. But just the way you frame it initially makes me hate the shit out of it. So much.
Yeah. I mean, Like it's a lot of words in a numbered format, and it's just process, and it feels like work, and then you're framing it as like anxiety and work and questions and right? Like I can see why you would hate it in that context. But I think we agree that what like talking about this process is really important.
Yes. And I'd say too, because I remember this one, and I was skimming it just now, and I think tonally there's like a thing we have to remember. No matter how strongly we feel about it, it's a fucking pen. And if you are the pen manufacturer, you're someone whose life is about pens, like there is a level of passion you have that the customer will pretty much never be able to meet unless they're like a pen collector, connoisseur, whatever. Yeah. And that's not going to be 99% of people. And so toning down the drama a little bit so that people can actually like relate and connect and feel like the thing you're trying to sell them is something that's actually contextually useful to their life, I think would go a long way. Because I could buy into like, hey, high quality pen, it's great. You're gonna be able to depend on it. You're gonna write better than ever. Okay, cool. But like, it's like I like pens. My pens don't change my life.
Yeah.
If like the ink dries up a little bit, I'm like, shit, that's really annoying. And then I grab another one out of my bag. I'm not like, oh my god, my creativity, my workflow is ruined.
To push back on that a little bit, I think there are people though who take pens a little bit more seriously, and I think that's who this copy is for. Right? Because like I had a period in my life when I was like journaling, and like I didn't go and just buy your average, like school notebook. I went and bought a leather bound, notebook with a string because like I'm buying this with the intention that like maybe my kids are going to read this someday or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like, on that same sort of thought, as I'm writing, I want, if my pen starts running out and it looks like shit, like it bothers me. So like, I think that there's varying degrees of seriousness about pens. And but I think to your point, like the person who is reading this is already like pretty self-aware of that. And like, it's a very specific person. And like, maybe you don't need so much drama all the time, like, bashing over your head drama all the time. And you kind of just need to convince them more about the benefits of this specific pen and the quality and the features of this specific pen. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And to dial down the hyperbole on my end just a little bit, I really enjoy writing by hand. And one thing I like to do for people, like if I stay at someone's house or I meet someone for the first time that I've been looking forward to meeting. So like, for example, Sean and Alex, when I went and met them in Maryland last summer, I actually hand wrote both of them letters. And when I do that, like I buy really nice paper and I have nicer pens that I use for that purpose. And so like when I'm doing that, I'm very careful about my handwriting. I'm like very particular about the kind of pen I use.
Yeah.
And so cool. I could actually like envision myself buying this product.
Yeah.
I just feel like when I slip up or my pen like skips or something, it's not anxiety that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
There's like a emotional like mismatch, I feel like, with some of this. Like there are very strong emotions I have about it. It's not quite like, oh my god, it's the fucking end of the world. It's like,
the world's not ending.
Piece of paper. Like shit. Start
yes.
over.
Yes. Okay, cool. I'm reading through these comments. These are great. The pen chooses the writer, similar to that of a wand choosing the wizard, which it's not just a pen.
It's not just a pen.
You're right. Okay. Let me see where else this went. Let's give it a spin. More benefits for you. Pen drying out too often. Okay, when I start to see like now it's falling off format a little bit, and now this is just kind of thrown in here, and things seem a little bit too messy, I take it as the reader did not do the work to prep this as much as he or she should have, and so I stop there.
Yeah.
All right.
One test, I think, for like people out there who write copy, one really good test that you should do for everything you write when you have like it's like longer copy is like read your title and then just go through your copy reading the subheads only.
Yeah.
And your story should make sense only reading the subheads. And if it doesn't, or it feels like kind of random and scattered, you need to go back and think about the organization, or like if you actually need all the sections you have.
Yeah, and you should.
Okay.
No, I was gonna say you should clearly get a sense of like it goes from, you know, more general and generic to, by the time you're at the end here, we're talking about like offers, right?
Yeah.
Now guarantee, lifetime guarantee. So yeah.
Yeah. And so just to do that here, it's like the Eternal Fountain Pen, the Eternal Senate Pens, Immortal Fountain Pen, more than 4,800 4.8 star reviews, right with confidence.
Yeah.
No need to worry anymore. More benefits for you. Pen drying out too often. So it's like less specific, now more specific.
Yep.
Doctors trusted, doctors recommend. It's like some health benefits, lifetime guarantee, and like that's it. But like, yeah, that's like, yeah.
The doctor's bit, I mean, I did look at this very quickly. The doctor's bit threw me off a little bit. It's something that I would see with like health copy. Mm-hmm. I don't need to know that a doctor recommends this pen necessarily. That doesn't give me any confidence. It's not really like the metric of credibility that matches this copy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I do think a video potentially showing, you know, the process of how simple it is to change out the cartridges could be something that's like very potentially attractive for this. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think we should move on to maybe the next piece. Sound good? Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to stop sharing that one and share. Hold on just a second. Okay, revision. We're here. Oh, I already did that one. Hold on just a second. Oh, we're at Warren's emails. Warren, you're up next.
Gonna fucking suck.
160x better. Rod, I have not figured out how to go from tab to tab pretty seamlessly. It's taking me a few seconds.
I usually open them all up, like all the tabs next to each other, and so then I just close them out one by one as I go.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'll just
because then that way it won't like kill your present thing.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Sweet. So these are 2 emails being sent as an affiliate offer to an existing list in the health niche. So for those who can't quite follow that language, there is a health company that has a list, and another health company wants to send their products in an offer to that company's list for a cut of the profits. Emails will send traffic to a product page. Feedback, Warren's looking for feedback mostly on the intro, but also the overall effectiveness for driving conversions. Email number 1, subject, 160 times better than turmeric. You likely already know the health benefit. You likely already know that health experts agree that a supplement with turmeric has an amazing effect on fighting inflammation to address joint pain, gut health, cognitive function. The list goes on. After all, turmeric has been used for centuries in traditional medicine for its anti-inflammatory properties, with over 3,000 clinical studies, standing as a testament to just how remarkable turmeric really is. Here's a quote from Dr. Michael Curran. What makes turmeric so effective isn't really a mystery. It's the golden-colored active compound found in turmeric called curcumin, which provides the powerful antioxidant and the anti-inflammatory properties that fight inflammation markers throughout the body and provide potent support and equilibrium for balanced gut health, healthy flexible joints, younger-looking skin, mental clarity and cognitive protection, healthy cardiovascular function. But here's the catch. 98% of the turmeric curcumin supplements in stores and online potentially provide very little benefit to your body, if at all. Yes, this is even true for the so-called gold standard turmeric plus black pepper preparations. This is because recent studies have shown it to have extremely poor bioavailability, and therefore its poorly absorbed by the body. In some cases, less than 5% is actually absorbed. According to research published in the Nutrition Journal, the potential health benefits of curcumin are limited by its poor solubility, low absorption in the gut, rapid metabolism, and rapid systemic elimination. Imagine taking 45 capsules of turmeric just to experience I think he meant not to experience any anti-inflammatory benefits. Sounds exhausting, right? Furthermore, independent laboratory testing has proven that turmeric capsules and tablets manufactured today are bonded with inflammatory additives and solvents that chemically modify the product and can be highly toxic. However, there is a proven alternative and a better way to get all the amazing benefits from turmeric. Research has shown that you could increase curcumin absorption by 160 times in an all-natural way. This means you can achieve relief from joint pain, digestive issues, brain fog, constant fatigue, and all other indicators of a pro-inflammatory state with the right type of curcumin product. So, what is the right type? Introducing liposomal delivery technology, a groundbreaking solution to boost curcumin absorption by a staggering 160 times. This revolutionary delivery system has been trusted by clinical researchers for decades. This curcumin supercharged delivery technology can help provide one serving of curcumin, which others could not achieve in a 90-day supply. Liposomal technology is an absorption delivery system previously used in pharmaceutical formulations to create protective lipid barrier around an active nutrient to shield it from harsh stomach acids and facilitate in a seamless absorption through the cell wall and into the bloodstream. You can think of liposomes as natural lipid bodyguards that shield curcumin from harsh stomach acids and are made up of the same lipid structure of the stomach wall, allowing it to easily absorb through the cell wall and get into the individual cells of the body where it is needed most. According to clinical studies, liposomal curcumin is 8 times more absorbed than standard full-form curcumin, which means it is 160 times more effective than turmeric alone. Okay, then, so where can you find the less liposomal curcumin? Okay. Let's see. Is there a lot more here? There's a lot more here.
We could probably stop there.
Let's pause.
Okay. So, Lindsey, do you have much experience with like health, the health space?
I have read a lot of health copy because Agora is primarily financial and health, and so we ran a lot of health offers to our list if we felt they were appropriate. So I've read a lot of health copy. Yeah.
Have you read much that drives straight to product pages?
No.
My first thought with this is that this is just like way too long.
Yeah, this is way too long for an email. Way too long for an email.
What he's doing makes sense to me. Like with the thinking being that like, okay, if someone's going to go straight to like the product page, they're not going to see all this other stuff, yada, yada, yada. So therefore I need to like tell them everything. But I think it's just trying to do too much. Like because you're basically moving from like the person has no idea why turmeric's actually useful to like the, what it actually is in there. And now here's like side effects. Okay. But here's this other thing. And now here's the best way to get that other thing, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Like, this is not email copy. This is landing page copy. Yeah. And for this specific product.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll be right back. 1 second.
That's okay. Rod picked up on my exact first comment was it's just way too much going on in an email. If this is you have one opportunity to send your email to an affiliate list, and then it has to convert. And if you do not convert and you do not get sales, the business is not going to want to run your stuff anymore because that business has a marketing calendar. That marketing calendar can only send so much email in a given day. And they are not going to waste their precious email slots on affiliate offers that do not convert. And so if you are approaching this as an affiliate and really even if you are writing from within the business, your email is about getting one thing, which is just the click. And the primary way to do that is to use intrigue. And, the Dick formula, disrupt, intrigue, click. You need to capture somebody's attention, elevate a little bit with intrigue and move the reader along in a in a way that makes them feel compelled to click. So again, the first thing that I saw is what Rob picked up on, or Rod, you're back. Rod picked up on, which was, it's just trying to do way too much for email copy. The subject line I felt like was pretty weak. You're just describing one small feature of this product, and in no way is that connected to any sort of benefit for the reader. So I would examine that, you know, and like, what is it 160 times better than, you know, reducing inflammation, whatever, you know, the main benefit is.
And a really easy way to just like bump that up really quickly is just like find something that people take, like a condition that people find like use turmeric for. So let's say it's like diabetic swelling or whatever, and say 160% better at relieving diabetic swelling or pre-diabetic swelling or whatever the fuck it is.
Yep. So again, if this is an affiliate email, you get one chance to go to this list. You need to get a click really fast, and then you need to get sales, which is another thing. But like, if we're approaching this as an email and we got to get a click from this, this is taking up way too much space here. I get that it confers credibility. Like, that's cool. But I think in image form, you're just like taking up way too much precious space. Would you agree, Rod?
Yeah, for sure. And it's like not even that strong. And it also reiterates a lot of stuff you go on to say. And
it's redundant. Like, it's redundant. Yeah.
Yeah. If you could pull it out like horizontally so it takes up less vertical room, that'd be great. And then like,
and use the doctor to say, you know, what it is. Exactly. As one of the, you know, country's most renowned cardiologists, Dr. Michael Curran, says, you know, blah, 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 remove this, you know, and snip it in somewhere. But I think, like, I don't know, Rod, what do you think about this, like, beginning copy where we're talking about, like, you know, we're basically talking about turmeric and how great it is and how we know what's so great about it. Do you think it's just like doing too much on turmeric and we just need to get, we need to get, and Warren sniffed it out. He sniffed it out right away. You know, once he came back with fresh eyes and looked at this, he's like, this is a much better lead. This to me is the big idea, which is that all of those supplements that you're taking, you think you're taking all of this like turmeric curcumin supplements and it's like doing all this good in your body, and it's actually doing nothing. Mm-hmm. And actually 5% of it is actually absorbed. This to me is where I would start this piece.
Yeah, because it, like, you can't spend, like, if you start the email talking about how great turmeric is, I'm going to think you're trying to sell me turmeric. And so for you to turn, be like, actually, it sucks though.
Yeah. And like, you don't even really need to know, like, you don't need to be somebody who's taking turmeric and like understand what it's used for to find this product attractive, you know, like, you don't have to tell me all of the benefits of it. I just know, I know, because I'm somebody who follows the health space and I buy supplements and I'm, you know, I'm aware of these sorts of things. I know turmeric is a thing that people buy to probably, if I had to guess, reduce inflammation, right? That's what most people are probably going to think. But the big idea is that, like, turmeric, and maybe even probably all of these supplements that you're taking, are actually, like, you know, have poor bioavailability, and you need some added compound in order to make those nutrients more readily available to you, right?
Yeah.
So you need to immediately get into that idea from the start. If in fact this is an email, and I would even say for a landing page too. And then from there, once you've kind of like disrupted with that idea that, hey, you know, time out, all of those pills you're popping may actually, you know, you be maybe doing more damage than good. Turns out you're not absorbing all of it, and then you need to quickly pivot to this idea that a team of scientists have paired up and found a way to increase curcumin absorption by 160 times in an all-natural way.
Yeah.
This means
I think that
go ahead.
there's an important audience question here too, where it's like, are you targeting people who are currently taking turmeric and trying to convert them to this other thing, to this other product, or are you trying to target people who suffer from the like illnesses or situations that you would take turmeric for? Because if it's the latter, which I also assume is a much bigger audience, then this approach is also going to be way easier. You don't have to do anything convincing off of turmeric. It's just, here's why this is the best thing for your situation.
Yeah.
It's way more straightforward.
Yeah. But I think this copy can like speak to both audiences, right? Like people who are very turmeric aware and those who are not turmeric aware.
Yeah. The copy, it's written well.
It's written very well. Yeah. So I think like the bulk of your email honestly is right here. Mm-hmm. Right here. Start at 98%. Here's the catch. And then, so what's the right type? Like, you don't get into all the sciencey stuff, which that was my, one of my other comments was, first of all, this is not appropriate for email at all to talk about the science, technology, and just look at this sentence alone. Liposomal technology is an absorption delivery system previously used in pharmaceutical formulations to create protective lipid barrier around an active nutrient to shield it from harsh stomach acids and facilitate a seamless absorption through the cell wall and into the bloodstream. Not appropriate for email at all. Not appropriate even for a landing page, probably. This is just way too much science speak.
Yeah. It's funny though, because reading that, unless you copy paste it somewhere, it tells me like as like an editor, you actually know what you're talking about, which I appreciate. It's just you need to translate that into language that one, people can understand, and two, that they give a fuck about.
Exactly. As a science person, even like I'm like, this is actually really cool. Like I find this fascinating and it makes it believable. But as Rod just said, you have to make this accessible to the average person. And you do that here when you say, think of liposomes as natural lipid bodyguards that shield the curcumin from harsh stomach acids. So like, you just have to like, a good drill for this is to like, go explain this to a loved one, go explain this to a friend, as if like, what is liposomal technology? How does it work? Mm-hmm. Go explain it to your grandmother and pay attention to the words you're using, the phrases you're using, and how you communicate this stuff, how you get it across. What are the most important things you're leaning on? Yeah. What are you leaving out? So make the science more accessible. You don't need nearly as much of it when you have a convenient way to explain it. Like bodyguards is a cool, concept that you can work with, that people kind of instinctively know what that is and how it works. This image is a total waste of space and way too sciencey. And if your copy is doing its job, you don't need it. People don't need to know the science. I'm going to take a moment to, have you seen any new comments come across? Yeah, Warren is self-editing. Not selling to science people, though. Selling to the slack-jawed Pepsi guzzlers in middle and
guzzlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this would be a pretty good blog post.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like,
or an e-letter. Like, it's good e-letter material, too. Mm-hmm. Like, this is exactly the sort of thing that would go out in an e-letter as an advertorial linking to the sales page. Absolutely. So, Warren, if your client is looking for, like content that they want to run to other health e-letters, editors are looking all the time for content, like good, valuable content to run, because it takes them off the hook of having to write another like 7-page e-letter. And so, and you get like free publicity and you get to sell shit potentially. And you get to use all this good stuff that you produced.
Yeah. Because this is high quality content.
It's very high quality and very well written. Just not appropriate for the context that it's in. So then if we're moving on, I just wanted to make one more point, Warren. So you say, okay, so we've identified that it's this product called rho liposomal curcumin and reversatrol, a cutting-edge formula created by a team of PhD chemists who meticulously combine the power of anti-inflammatory effects into two potent natural antioxidants delivered in the most bioavailable liposomal form. Again, like way too sciencey, but what I wanted to point out is you don't actually like talk about this compound. You say that it is the compound that's actually found in, it's a longevity antioxidant typically found in red wine. But the way you're positioning this, and like every time you mention the product, you mention it like this. So I'm assuming this is like the proprietary name of the actual product. You actually need to link up what this is, like, and how it benefits this liposomal curcumin. Do you know what I mean? Because it just seems very random. It just seems like they just like teamed up these two compounds. We're like, oh, this has antioxidants, but this is actually the thing that you want. But we're just gonna like throw on an added thing. Does it make it more potent? Does it improve bioavailability? Does it, somehow enhance the liposomal curcumin technology? You say it goes the extra mile by integrating the renowned longevity antioxidant typically found in red wine. You say it's a powerhouse nutrient, boosting significant anti-inflammatory and anti-aging properties. So you talk about what it is itself, but like I'm totally missing the link of how it helps or enhances the actual like foundational compound here, the technology here.
Yeah. Can I pull out a comment from chat?
Yeah.
Just real quick. It's a little bit of a different beat. Fairlive asked a really, really, really good question. Just out of curiosity, is it difficult to write to an audience you hold in low regard? Oren's Pepsi guzzling comment made me think of that. And the answer is it absolutely can be really, really hard. I think my best tip for that is just to like, if you've done your research, you will not just know like what your audience thinks, but you'll also have some semblance of an idea of like how they got there. And so like if we're using like super like Trump supporters, for example, like it's really easy to be like, oh yeah, they suck because we hate Trump if we hate Trump. But if you think about, well, these people have felt like really politically disenfranchised for a long time. They have been leaning right for forever, but are really disenchanted with like how modern Republicans haven't really done a ton of stuff. They feel like they want to get back at the liberals who have like kind of been poking them in the eye for a really long time. If you understand that sense of feeling like alienated and like wanting to feel like you have power for once in a long time, like that belief in Trump makes more sense. And so then you don't have to write to that person as much as address the underlying beliefs that like make them hold that position in the first place. Which can still be challenging, but I think it's a lot easier to speak to like the belief than it is to speak to the person if you have hard feelings towards them.
Very well said. Yeah, I thankfully do not suffer from that. Like Warren says, it is possible to have empathy for all people. And like, I generally, I suffer from this where like, if I sit down and I let you talk and explain yourself, I'm like, yes, I totally get it. I can empathize. I understand. And then I like go to the other side and let me hear your side. And then I'm like, oh my God, and I get your side too. And like, it's difficult for me to have to just like generally hold such disdain for a group of people that I struggle to write for them. But I do know that it is difficult for people. And I know in the financial space, which, tends to write for, a polarizing crowd, some people were hired into like my company and they really struggled with it and they just like, they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And they had to leave. And I don't know if you're that triggered by, by this work, I don't know. I get it. Maybe you don't want to make it your life's work. I understand you don't find it fulfilling, but to me, it's all part of creativity, and yeah.
I fully agree with that. I would say like it is good creativity practice to be able to come up with ideas or notions or whatever, to be able to speak to anyone, because your ability to produce is always going to be tied to your ability to like communicate effectively with somebody. And if there is a group of people that you could just not communicate with, that is like, I would consider that like a failure to a degree, or like a weak point of yours. And we should all try to be as strong as we can in as many areas as we can. And so, I think it's worth working on. The other thing is that you do have a choice in like what areas you write. We can niche down tonally, not just like in specific industries. And so if you know that you struggle with a particular audience, let's say you don't want to write for older white men, then like definitely don't choose to write in financial, because that's going to be the target audience. And like I have a client, for example, who I write for, who is like in like a DEI adjacent space. It's like very, very liberal, much more so than myself. And like, I know lots of people who would not be able to write for him, because it's just like, they'd be like, this is some woo-woo bullshit. And I'm like, I might actually agree with you on that, but it pays the bills, therefore I do it, and I can empathize with how these people got there, and so it's worth my time to do. And so, while it's something you should improve on, if it's uncomfortable, if you don't feel like it's worth your time, like, you don't actually have to do it. So
you don't actually have to do it. There's plenty of there are plenty of jobs out there. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I feel like for the most part, as I'm scrolling through, like we've hit most of the main big topics. Do you want to give this second one a go, or should we maybe read? Okay. You want to read it?
Let's go until it gets boring. It looks like it starts off differently, so it might be
quite
different. So, subject: inflammation, silent health crisis nobody is talking about. Ooh. Lurking silently within millions, an insidious health crisis stealthily spreads, ignoring chronic diseases and remaining largely undetected. The hidden enemy is inflammation. Okay, stop. This is a really good sentence until you say this. It's so good until you say that. I think you can say that at some point, but like, tease me a little longer. Okay. we just got like seated at our table, and you're trying to take my clothes off. Like, slow down.
First base, second base.
You just ran diagonally across the diamond. Like, what the fuck are you doing? But yeah, so you may have heard the term inflammation before, but what exactly is it? Imagine your body is like a peaceful village, and inflammation is like a fire that occasionally breaks out. When a fire starts, the village's firefighters, aka your immune system, quickly respond to put it out. This is acute inflammation, a natural and necessary part of your body's defense system. Now imagine that the village is constantly being bombarded by small fires, and the firefighters are continuously fighting these fires without any rest. Over time, the village's infrastructure begins to weaken, and the firefighters become overwhelmed and exhausted. This continuous state of firefighting is similar to chronic inflammation, where your body is constantly in defense mode, leading to tissue damage, cellular dysfunction, and a weakened immune system. When left untreated, chronic inflammation can slowly destroy the village from the inside, contributing to numerous health issues and chronic diseases. It's essential to address the root causes of inflammation and provide your body with the tools it needs to restore balance and promote overall well-being. Factors that contribute to the development of chronic inflammation include a diet high in processed foods and sugar, chronic stress, exposure to environmental pollutants, and poor sleep quality. According to the CDC, chronic diseases affect approximately 133 million Americans, representing more than 40% of the population. A growing body of scientific evidence, including research from Harvard Medical School, links chronic inflammation to many chronic diseases. It's estimated over 100 million Americans suffer from inflammation. That number is expected to nearly double by 2030. Hidden warning signs of inflammation include brain fog, depression, weight gain, digestive problems, skin issues, joint pain, and chronic fatigue. Recent studies out of Harvard Medical School are now linking untreated chronic inflammation to all these things. Oops, sorry. Despite the far-reaching impact of inflammation, it frequently remains underestimated health crisis, natural solutions, and okay, I'm just gonna skim. This is all like good, but it's repetitive.
Yes.
Fortunately, nature has gifted us with potent anti-inflammatory antioxidants. Curcumin, the active ingredient in turmeric, and resveratrol, the polyphenol found in red wine and grapes, which have been harnessed over 5,000 years in ancient health practices to combat inflammation in the body. Over 3,000 scientific studies stand as a testament to the remarkable efficacy of these antioxidants in reducing inflammation and enhancing overall health markers. Then poor bioavailability, yada, yada, yada. Same deal, doctor's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to stop there. So first off, I want to say this is like the part up until you get into like the science stuff again is like really, really good. Like I thought the writing there at the the analogy about the village and how that affects your body and like the way in which you relate that, I think is really, really clear and striking. And then tying that into the long-term effects, I think would be really, really helpful for somebody who doesn't necessarily have a grasp on that.
Agreed. Good for an advertorial and an e-letter, not good for email, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I would leave the peaceful village fire analogy out of the email.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're talking about something lurking silently, within you, an insidious health crisis, bypassing all of this stuff, let's see. You basically want to get to a point where you're stating like most people don't know your body's in a constant defense mode, leading to tissue damage, cellular dysfunction, weakened immune system. When left untreated, this condition can slowly destroy your body from the inside, contributing to numerous health issues and chronic diseases. So this isn't like original copy, like what you're striking. If we're writing an email, we take out the original bits about like the firefighter village, which is cool. I agree with Rod. And we just stick to like, there's an insidious disease and it's spreading throughout your body and it's creating all this tissue damage. And like, this could virtually be said about like any supplement in the health supplement business. And like that copy itself is going to be too generic. Because like, there's nothing, the first thing that we looked at was looking at USPs, unique selling propositions for a guitar songwriting product. There's like nothing uniquely written about this. If we are going to destructure it and sort of cull out an email from it. So I think that's the first thing you got to do is figure out like your most intriguing point here that's different from the bioavailability argument, which you have in your email. Like, what is unique about this stuff? Inflammation is not unique. Even if you were to leave that in, inflammation itself is like a tale as old as time to the health industry. And a supplement to reduce inflammation, come on, like it's just, there's nothing there that I can sink my teeth in terms of like, ooh, this is new. I've never seen this before. I'm intrigued and I'm going to click. If we're reading the rest of it, like what jumped out at us that could potentially be something to test for email too? Any ideas, Rod? Did anything jump out at you? Do you agree with what I said?
I absolutely agree.
Okay.
I think it's generic. My thought when you said that initially is like, it's not necessarily bad to be generic. However,
sure.
Like at that point, what you're betting on is low audience sophistication. Like these people haven't seen this before, or if they see it, they're not going to recognize it. But if that's a bet you're taking, and it's probably not a great bet, especially if they're on a list, especially if it's like an affiliate offer means that like this is a validated list of people who've seen lots of stuff before, who've bought lots of stuff before. And so
exactly. And I think you stepped out for a moment when I was explaining this point, but like Warren's client is the affiliate, and they're going to a list, and they've got one shot, two shots, maybe 3 emails to send to prove themselves that they can convert sales and make money for this company. And if they blow it, then the affiliate is not going to get called back again. They're not going to get any marketing slots again. And Warren is not going to have any more jobs with this client, so no pressure. So I want to like help Warren out here and like come up with some really good emails that he can do. And I think that, again, this is great, like landing page copy, great e-letter copy. But you just need to do some more work on the email side.
Yeah. I really do think the easiest thing here would just be to take inflammation and then go one step down and say, like, what is the worst or what are the most common long-term side effects of like chronic inflammation? So it's like your feet are falling off, you can't feel your feet anymore, you have trouble getting up, like incredibly debilitating stiffness. Like, what is that thing? And then frame the thing as frame the email as like towards that thing, like the secret, insidious, whatever thing that's leaving Americans unable to walk, yada, 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 yada. And then when they click through, they can see it's about inflammation, but like,
I like
them with that.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. Yeah, home in on a specific set of symptoms or things that people are feeling that would make them think that you're like talking about a condition, right? Yeah.
And I think the cool thing about that too is that if you take that approach, you could actually do it for any number of symptoms. And so, I don't know how, like, I don't know the feasibility of this in this particular circumstance, but if you were working directly with a health company, for example, you could test all of those things and see what sorts of conditions does our list respond most effectively to. And then you have information about like, okay, is it stiffness? Is it not feeling well? Is it whatever? And then that gives them information for future campaigns, for future products. That they can
absolutely.
And so that can be really valuable, even if it doesn't make this like particular campaign sell as well. Just a thought.
Yeah. Like in the health niche, like we know like male dysfunction is like a thing with a specific set of symptoms that you can write around in terms of like talking about that. We know like cancer is a big one that is like a big fear point that you can draw out a lot of fear elements with, like descriptive copy around symptoms and things like that. And so if you're talking about a secret insidious health crisis that's stealthily spreading, try to play with that a little bit and do something similar.
Because I think too, just like to say this one more time, there is like a message match problem between like that opening and then the where your email goes afterwards. And so make sure that like whatever you're getting to hook people into the email then matches up to like the tone and the content of what you have afterwards. Because I think both these angles can work. It's just they don't work together.
Yeah. And to be fair, the danger of trying to like hype up this insidious health crisis in an email and trying to build a lot of intrigue around that and then sending people to a landing page where you reveal it's actually inflammation is potentially a huge buzzkill. And you got to be careful with it. Yeah. Warren, in general, like make sure your images are really doing work. Anything that's hard to read, like you got to squint to read this. People in the health niche are old. They have bad eyes. They don't feel good. It's hard for them to read graphics. So you have to make everything very visually obvious. Make sure that this is not like a gray bubble here, and like the font is really like exaggeratedly big.
And think about reading that on mobile too. Like,
but again, the people who are reading this are to be fair, they're probably on a desktop and they're old and they're suffering. This takes up so much space. It doesn't do anything for me. I get that you're kind of like wanting to break up walls of text, which I think is like why you're doing that, but do not use an image for that purpose. Like don't just simply throw an image there to break up a wall of text. Use subheads. I don't think I saw a single subhead in here.
Well, it's an email, so
I mean, it's an email, but yeah, no, you're right. Like this is not email copy. Like,
Yeah.
we're beyond that point, right? Like, so if this is going to be your product page, and use subheads and make them sexy, and make sure images are not just placeholders and actually like doing work. There's text on there with meaning. I mean, they kind of should act like a subhead. Like maybe there should be text on there that an older person can visually look at it, understand the purpose of it. I don't know what this even, if I'm not reading this copy and I'm just like scrolling and I come upon this image and I'm like, a Band-Aid on a ripped piece of paper, and like, is this art? Like, what is this trying to say?
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to guess. It should be so obvious in their face. Same with this. Like, I have to really squint to read this. And it's, again, too much science. Okay. We should probably, we've given Warren enough time in the sun. Maybe we should move on to the next submission.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to add here on Warren's copy?
Not on the copy. We just have a couple questions.
Okay.
Well, not necessarily questions, but Laura asks, what's the legality in talking about how a supplement may reduce the risk of cancer? Probably it's not legal to say this will reduce your risk of cancer.
You have to say may. You have to do a lot of hedging, and you absolutely cannot talk about cures. You cannot imply in any way any sort of cure copy. You can get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. And so
in our financial days, that was like anything that sniffed of a cure, we were not allowed to run.
Yeah. And so I think if I'm trying to put on like my gray cap, if I'm putting on my gray hat, copywriter hat, like what you do is you talk about cancer in terms of like the potential consequences of not addressing the problem in a way that suggests that but then like when you actually talk about what the supplement itself does, you aren't saying it cures the cancer, it just reduces the state that then leads to cancer.
Yeah.
And so you're not saying you're curing cancer, but it's like you're going to have lessened chance of the thing that could lead to cancer.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, yeah, well said.
Yeah, it's just very gray. So before you close this, just open up the next one, and it should open in the same window, and then this window won't close.
It's already open.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine too.
I'm going to close this one and see if it'll kick over. No, it did not kick over.
If you just click the link from Discord, usually Chrome will open it in the window that's most recently been open. And so even if you have the other one up, you could just do it anyway, and it'll just open a second time.
Cool. Okay. Next time. All right. Cool.
School districts
landing page. Okay, target. Problem product aware school superintendents in the USA who have heard of this professional development course through a teacher, through LinkedIn, through a colleague, etc. So we're looking at a professional development course.
Okay. Do you want me to read it?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I know you've been talking along. So.
Thank you. Yeah, my voice is going out.
All right. The only professional development specifically designed to make every class an insightful, educational, and entertaining conversation. Improve engagement, develop critical thinking, encourage equity. Start the conversation today. I love the early CTA. I assume that's a button. Then we got a stack. Naturally integrates with any curriculum, even math and science. Improves test score and student comprehension by increasing talk time. AI assessment offers instant personalized feedback. Interesting. Teachers want to do the best by their students. Conversational development is designed to give them the resources to succeed. Trusted by teachers at hundreds. Oh, before we go on, I want to say that, and this is not necessarily like a failing of this in particular, but one thing that really helps anyone reviewing your stuff is like if you could do like a little bit of extra work to show like design wise what this would look like on a page, it helps
Yeah.
us like evaluate like what it's actually supposed to be doing. Because like
100%. When I read this the first time, I had a super hard time following even what this was because it
yeah.
just a simple formatting issue.
Hmm.
It just seems like it's just like words dumped on a page. I had no clue what was a
Hmm.
headline, like what was eyebrow copy, what was like anything.
Yeah. And so like I think the teachers want to do best by their students is supposed to be like a subhead or like headline type thing, and then under it the conversational development thing is supposed to be like modifying that headline
Yeah.
thingy, and which makes sense to me. Just on the page, it's not at all clear.
Yeah.
And so just keep that in mind. If you're new to this, understandable. We don't hate you, but
Yeah, of course.
it goes a long way.
Goes a long way. Helps.
Yeah. So trusted by teachers at hundreds of schools. Logo banners, great. That's an example of good design in your copy. You're telling us what's going to be there. So good
Yep.
job. How to maximize every educational moment. Make it a conversation. Today's students have more distractions than ever. If you lose their attention for even a moment, they can create a wave of disturbances that derail a whole class. The good news: your teachers have the power to keep their attention on learning well past the ringing of the bell. We'll show you our simple three-step system for structuring engaging classroom discussions in just a minute. First, it's time to talk about talk time. Studies have proven it. Classroom discussions accelerate learning. They're one of the most foolproof ways to ensure students are comprehending a lesson. But beyond just comprehension, well-structured discussions can also stimulate critical thinking and respect for differing viewpoints. There's a carousel graphic. Okay, so the graphic is saying 7 seconds is the average talk time per hour of class. It's a cool stat. The person who's that's like good like dimensionalization of like
Yeah.
the person who is doing the talking is doing the learning. Increased discussion time in class has a measurable effect on grades for written assignments as well as testing. In fact, there is a positive correlation between the amount of time a student spends talking in class and their grades. But most students talk for 7 seconds per class. That's about enough time to say present and answer one question. It certainly isn't enough time to form a thesis and defend it, the very base of critical thinking. A new approach to the classroom dynamic. The instructional method taught in conversational development smoothly integrates with any curriculum and allows students to take an active role in their education. Here it is explained by one of our founders. Video. How conversational development works. The protocol taught in conversational development is a simple to learn framework for creating engaging educational conversations. Participants learn how to build compassionate learning environments where students more deeply engage with lesson content, instructors, and peers through the innovative use of quotes, claims, counterclaims, and essential questions. Quote and picture, and then CTA, love it, graphic. The $18 billion elephant in the room. Students spend an average of $18,000 per year per teacher on professional development. This totals $18 billion every year in the US alone. Most professional development is available as one-off seminars, in-class observation, and periodic workshops. These methodologies are among the least likely to move the needle for key performance indicators, things like student equity, classroom engagement, and testing scores. School districts are depleting their budgets without reaping any of the rewards that come from a robust system of professional development. Just like one tiny line edit that I think would make this like so much stronger. If you just add the word should here, you just have created this huge normative paradigm that like
I'm sorry.
tells people that if they're not doing this, then they suck.
Yeah.
So one-off teaching events are one of the least effective ways to learn. We would never expect a student to pass an algebra final if they had one training on linear equations at the beginning of the semester. Teachers support the just add a sentence here, just draw this out, just say the same thing about teachers. Teachers support their students to learn. They revisit subjects, give frequent impartial feedback, and facilitate peer study groups to ensure students maintain their knowledge. So why don't we give our teachers the same support? Conversational development breaks the mold by treating teachers as students, not clients. We offer 3 types of continued support throughout the year, so your teachers always feel supported, no matter what their learning style is. Monthly workshops on the technique are provided as part of the program. Participate live or via replay, or replay as often as you want. Our online community of educators teach different offers a vibrant online community where you can link up with teachers around the world, form real connections with people who possess similar problems, dreams, and interests. AI assessment. Offered in collaboration with TeachFX, AI assessment provides instant personalized feedback every day after every class for every teacher. Then there's testimonial. How does this help equity? Many assume an increased focus on student-led conversation might lead to an imbalance between native English speakers and students who speak English as a second language. A 2019 study in California found the opposite was true. More talk in class actually closed the gap in test scores between ESL students and their classmates. Listen to our founder talk about the importance of the space conversations create. What about bullies and attention seekers? Conversation development teaches a simple structure that assigns roles to students. This can turn class clowns into your greatest allies as they lead by example, inspiring classmates to open up and share personal testaments. And then we have a CTA and then a FAQ section. What do you think?
I mean, wow, I love the product. How cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's very cool. Very weak close. This is Evan's copy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Blow them up.
No, I mean, we'll get to the close in a bit. But to head up to the beginning, again, formatting, and generally this like just kind of looks like there's multiple levels of trying to like headline and subhead and headline and subhead again and headline and subhead again. Like this looks like a headline, subhead, and then this like I'm assuming it's going to be a graphic, and then another headline, and then another subhead, and then this is going to be graphic, very graphic, and again, I don't know if this is copy or if this is a headline, but it just feels like he's just like stumbling, trying to start, like he's coming out of the blocks, not strong. So I think we need to find like one headline, and I don't think it could be a version of this first one, but there's a lot of really big words in here.
Yeah. One thing sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, you finish your thought. I thought you were disappearing.
No, there's a lot of really big words here. The only professional development specifically designed to make every class an insightful, educational, entertaining conversation, improve engagement, develop critical thinking, encourage equity. Like these are all good ideas. I wonder if you could say them simpler. Yeah.
I think, to me, that is one of the problems with this, is that conceptually, I think it's working with a lot of really good content, and the way in which it's been presented is like, each segment is clear, but the way in which each thing connects to each other is not very clear to me.
Okay.
And so what I think you would benefit from a lot, Evan, is to like set the copy aside for a second, take out like a blank piece of paper, and just like do like a little like messaging pyramid basically, and say like at the top, this is like the headline or idea I'm trying to communicate, and then write out all your other ideas, and then like draw lines how you think they should connect to each other, and then make sure the copy represents that. Because right here, it's like, it seems like you're like, oh, all of these things fit into this, and so I'm going to put them on the page. But me as a reader, I'm like, okay, this seems like, why is this here versus there? Which of these is the most important? Which is a subset of something else? But that's very fixable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to be quite honest, like, you don't need all of the ideas you have here to make this successful. And so you will probably get to the point where you're like, okay, this is a lot of ideas and I'm having trouble connecting them. And at that point, just cut out the weakest ones, or like the least important ones, and go from there, because there are lots of good things here.
I agree. I definitely think there's a lot of good stuff here. And I think that, as Rod said, the segments generally do seem clear. I think you have a lot of like really good lines in here too. I wish I would have highlighted them as we were reading. I don't know what to do with this, but I keep coming back to this idea that like teachers are facing a huge crisis in the US.
Yeah.
Like they're burnt the F out.
Yeah.
Everybody is so overloaded and just done. And like coming out of COVID, which was like such a mess, and what we demanded from teachers during that period, like was traumatic. And they will, they're still recovering from that. Many
Mm-hmm.
teachers left in droves. And so all of that work was put on more teachers. They get paid nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and their superintendents are like so tuned out
Yeah.
to their suffering and what they're going through. And I keep coming back to this idea, and I don't know if this is not the place for it. And I'm kind of going down a tangent, but like this idea of like removing the expectation and the work off of the shoulders of teachers who have to, lesson plan on their downtime at home with their families, and then
Mm-hmm.
deliver, show up by 7 a.m. the next day to prepare the classroom, and then deliver, hour after hour after hour after hour of lesson, when maybe there's a much simpler way that's actually more beneficial to teachers.
Yeah.
So I started having this thought when you came here, like teachers want to do best by their students. Like, yeah, they became teachers because they have big hearts and they want to teach and they think that would be a rewarding career. But like again, like we gotta remember, like we can't be tone deaf, and we can't potentially this could be a tool for superintendents to appeal to their teachers, is what I'm saying, in a way that reduces their workloads, reduces their expectations, and potentially benefits students
Mm-hmm.
so much more. I don't know if there's a way to elevate that idea, but it's just something that kind of came to my mind and made this seem a little weak and a little tone deaf, is what I
Yeah.
wanted to say. Right?
Yeah. So two things. One, Evan, if you need help thinking about this, reach out to me on Discord, because the project I was talking about before with like the really liberal person actually is aimed at teachers and educators. And so like I have some thoughts on this, and I would be more than happy to like help you with your thinking here. But Lindsey, what you're saying about the superintendent attendance, I have like there's a slight nuance that I want to draw that I think would really help this out.
Okay.
It is definitely, I don't think it's the case that superintendents are tuned out to the struggle that teachers are facing. I think it's not always the case that they're too tuned in, but I think they are very well attuned to the struggles that teachers face.
Yeah.
But they don't feel like they have the tools to meaningfully do anything about it. And so they just kind of throw up their hands and say, well, that's kind of the way it is. I can't help you.
Absolutely.
You're going to have to deal with it. And
absolutely. So, that's a great point. Yeah.
And so framing this as like, you could finally help them. This is something you could do to help your teachers who are trying to do their best by the students that you all care about, is a good way in, because you're telling them, hey, we know that you've been struggling trying to figure out what to tell your teachers who are burning out, who you're constantly having to replace, which makes your life harder. Here's what to do.
Love it. Yeah. Thank you for picking up my seed of a thought and saying exactly what needed to be said. Cool. Yeah, love it. Yeah, right, and it's right there. Conversational development designed to give your teachers the resources to succeed.
Yeah. Just a heads up, I have to go in like 3 minutes.
I do too.
So okay.
Yeah, I need to wrap up at 5, as I usually do. So why don't we finish up final thoughts on this, and then we'll be done. Okay. Yeah. Did you have any other thoughts that you wanted to share with Evan here once we get into kind of the body copy?
Definitely think about structuring in terms of like the order in which stuff comes. I like when you are doing the sort of like design stuff, I think that you chose some good ones to do, just to sort of like make the page more interesting and diversify it a bit.
Yeah. I will say, Evan, I think, I don't know if it's because of, I think it's a little bit because of the language that you're using, also an issue of formatting. But as I was reading this, I did not immediately connect that conversational development is the actual name of the product that you are selling. So I think you need to do some work in here and making sure that it's understood that this thing, a product, is called conversational development. And you get trainings, you get tickets to an event, you get this. But like these words are kind of like meshed in with the other word. You're talking about conversation, entertaining conversation here, professional development.
Yeah.
So this was just lost on me that this was a product. Another way that I think that you can do that is like the first time you mention it and every time you mention it, it needs to be capitalized first letter. And let's see, where do you first mention it? I would suggest that first mention, I think it's up here, some bullets about, we'll show you our simple 3-step system for structuring and engaging classroom discussions in just a minute.
Yeah, I didn't like the open loop there. I feel like these sorts of things tend to be usually more straightforward.
Yeah. You like the open loop right there and moving into
I don't like it there.
Yeah. No, I think you just immediately need to get into like some bullets as to like what this program is and what we're going to get with it. And you talk about this 3-step system, which is cool, but it's a perfect opportunity right here to say, and with, what did we call it?
Conversation.
And with these are just such big words. Do you have another way to talk about professional development program, conversational development? Like development. So you can see like the professional development, conversational development, there's just like so many big words there. We'll show you our simple 3-step system for structuring engaging classroom discussions in just a minute. Over the course of our 7-day program or whatever, I don't know what this is, you will discover bullets, like bullets as to like what they're actually going to get from a benefits perspective. That way it's just immediately understood. This is a program. This is what it's called. This is what you'll get. And then you can kind of continually do this unfolding of, talking and talk time and all of that, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah. I don't know if it's too late to do this, Evan, but like if you could just call it like the conversational development framework or conversation development paradigm, not only would it be more clear, but then it could get around you kind of having to say our professional development program, whatever. And then also sounds more official. People in the space fucking love frameworks and paradigms. Eat that shit up.
Yeah, call it the talk time paradigm. I mean, do you have to say conversational development? Can you call it something else? Do you have that leeway to kind of play with the product name a little bit? I would, because the professional development program, conversational development, just that dynamic all the time is going to be very fatiguing, both for you and the reader.
It also just lets you say like our paradigm, our framework. You don't have to say the entire name every single time.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. I think, sorry guys, Rod and I both have to stop there.
Don't be sorry. We have lives. We can't just sit here and critique
we
copy
do.
all day.
It's true. We've been going for 2 hours and we got lives and families. No, we got to get off. But thank you guys for submitting. Thank you to everyone who submitted. Sorry to those of you who we did not get to. Be faster next time. And hopefully we'll see you on the next one. We hope it was worthwhile.
Yeah. Alex Myatt says, hey guys. And so, hi, Alex. But bye, Alex. That was a stream. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Bye guys.